Hello everybody and welcome back to Skylines City Fix series with me, TW1. In this episode I'm going to be doing a montage style with post-commentary fix of this guy's city that I found on Twitter. He tweeted it at Biffa and I just sent him a little tweet to say, hey, do you mind if I have a look? I like fixing cities as well. And I'm quite happy that I did that because it's been a very, very fun city. There's a montage style of this because of a few reasons. One is I decided to do this at 2 a.m. So I couldn't really talk while I was doing this because it's late at night and I don't want to be rude. And also as it took me about 6 hours, like the thumbnail said. So yeah, you're going to have some post-commentary montage me with my thoughts and ideas about the city. And then my advice on the future of, if you're going to continue with the city, what I advise you to do and other things to look out for as well as that. So, firstly, I want to get into the whole argument, the whole point that I've been having a little discussion with a few people actually about unmodded City Skylines, so vanilla City Skylines like my Let's Play series, versus modded Let's Play series, modded cities. I feel like there is some merit to the unmodded cities and the way it plays as well. I feel like the game's a little bit different because it can teach you things that a modded game kind of doesn't teach you, because you can get around it and you can get away with making certain decisions which necessarily wouldn't work in a vanilla save. So yeah, I do advise everybody, this is anybody, if you're going to start your first city and you may be like me and you've watched Let's Plays of this mod looks cool and Biffa uses Traffic Manager and everything, and every city fix I see uses Traffic Manager, I need it. You don't need it. You need to learn the game's mechanics first because it will teach you a lot. So yeah, that would be my first advice when it comes to this. I just don't think you can get away with silly mistakes with Traffic Manager, and then when the city like this breaks, it's a little bit harder for you to work out why, and which is why I find a lot of people sometimes struggle with it, is because of the way that the game doesn't really hold your hand. It kind of just tells you, it really doesn't help you out if you make a mistake. So yeah, you need to be a little bit more careful when thinking about your roads. This city had a lot of highway junctions that kind of just ended and kind of just stopped. It kind of just went into one singular 4-lane avenue and then hit a roundabout, and then that one roundabout would feed an area of the population of 20,000-30,000 people with a lot of industry. And then, with only a couple of highway connections, that is too much traffic going through too few highway connections and too few well-designed junctions as well. So yeah, just having a little think. As you're going to see, as I'm watching right now, you're going to see me make a couple of changes to the way that your grids are laid out, because I wanted to add some extra roads, and I wanted to give your main roads some breaks. So wherever there is a junction, I wanted to try and move a junction away from it. Excuse me. So yeah, I wanted to just move some of these junctions away from other junctions just to give the game a little bit more of a chance. And that can sometimes help out because I find giving your main roads some room to breathe, so such as a main road with lots of industry, maybe a 4-lane road that should be a 4-lane road that connects to a roundabout or something, that I wouldn't necessarily zone on at all really. I'd want to leave it nice and free, nice and open, so the game has a chance to just declutter the traffic, work out what lanes it wants to be in, work out where it wants to be going, and then it just frees up the rest of your industry to roll out a little bit better. That same goes for commercial as well. I don't like commercial on 4-lane roads or big main roads, mainly because the trucks and the delivery vans and other things like that, tractors, whatever it may be, they cut up traffic. They get in the way of each other. And once there is a block in the system, they can then make that 10 times worse. So, yeah, that was the way of my thinking. I was just trying to declutter some of these main roads and allow the game to just to work out what it wants to be doing, really, and then gives the industry some more options to get out of certain junctions and allow it to split the traffic a little bit more. You're going to see me add a few different highway junctions throughout your city. I do apologise if I've destroyed too much of your city. I really, really did try not to. It is quite hard for me, though. I kind of just like ripping bits to bits. Ripping cities to bits. So this is a challenge for me to just try and do it a slightly different style. And talking of a different style, I would like to see Biffa try this city as well. I know I fixed your city, but I still hope he takes it on and does it, because I'd like to see how he does it and how he solves some of the issues that I found with this city. So yeah, that would be good. Let me get into the advice then. Let me talk about what I would be advising you to do in the future with your city. The first one is going to be walking past. You have so much room when it comes to your grid-esque style of zoning. You have so much room for walking past. You need to be utilising that to the absolute max. Even if it means breaking the odd building or two, walking paths are going to save you absolutely no end. And elevated walking paths as well. Get them over the top of the main roads. Get them over the top of some side roads that are busy. Get them away from junctions so there's less foot traffic interfering with your traffic as well. And then the game will run a hell of a lot smoother. And then with your footpaths, with all your footpaths in place, then try to build a little bit more of a more in-depth and a little bit more of a fuller public transport system around them walking paths. So try and match walking paths up with your public transport, like we said in the first episode of City Fix, to create a little bit more of a transport chaining, so you can get people moving around the city without necessarily having them to use their cars or necessarily even touch the roads at all. You also will see me change some of your roads, just quickly because I'm watching it. You're going to see me change some of your roads to these 2-lane national highway roads. I do that because, one, they've got a higher speeding game, and that will encourage the traffic to use it. The game AI will see that as a more viable route and then use it. So that is one reason why I do it. And the other one is it's kind of me just giving you a little bit of advice on where I wouldn't be zoning stuff if it was my city personally. This would be the spaces where I kind of try and give it a gap for the traffic just to breathe, and we give a little bit of a break from zoning. And then if you want to zone, you can then come off them junctions nicely and then come off them roads with some nice junctions and zone in them areas. You can keep the same amount of space. You can use the same amount of space. You're just going to lose like one grid space really when it comes to your zoning, but it's not necessarily that big of a loss, especially with someone who's running the mods for all 81 tiles. You're going to struggle to fill out this game before your PC ends. That's what I found, is PCs will break before you will fill out a full map. So yeah, that would be my advice, would be to not zone on the main roads and keep some of these national highway roads up so they can help your traffic out. So yeah, back to my advice on it. Yeah, walking past and public transport is the big one really. There is a lot of room for expansion when it comes to that in your city. You will see in the footage that your city did dip down to about 50k population. I made sure I regrew it back up to around the 80k mark where you handed it off to me. So I hope your city is still back. It's still got some abandoned buildings and it's still got some issues when it comes to your industry, but they are issues for you to solve. I do delete some of the abandoned buildings to try and raise the the land value, so some of these houses won't abandon themselves again. So That is one thing. The other thing I'm going to talk about is your cargo trains. There's a couple of opportunities where you need to be making some extra cargo train hubs for your industry. They're either driving too far to get to it, that I've noticed, or they're just taking too many roundabouts and it's getting in the way. I've had to do some fancy things with roundabouts to try and help out some of this traffic that I've noticed is purely just trying to get to the train hub and back. I only found one on your map, unless there is another one I may be blind. But so yeah, that would be a definite bit of advice for you, would be to add a few more of these and add them where they have good access to your industry and they also have a good access to the highway, and from that highway they can then disappear into different areas. You're going to try and split that traffic as much as you can, because otherwise it's all going to clog up again very, very quickly. I also went through and done the basic stuff. I went through and done the lane mathematics. I went through and done the arrows when it comes to a lot of the junctions. I've done a few special traffic lights that I've actually found really helpful in your cities, where I tell what lane is going to be where, and then I say that if you're turning right, you can just keep on turning right even if the lights are red, because that isn't going to influence the traffic the way that I've set up the road guidelines when it comes to the lining. So yeah, that's another thing, is just be careful with that. If you're going to go through and change some of the junctions again, just have a little look at them before you do, to make sure you know what they're doing before you change them. Like I said, I'm sorry if I destroyed too much of your city. I really did try not to. I tried to add some good extra highway junctions for the game, and just a little bit of forward planning for you as well in a couple of areas, just so you have an idea of what I would be doing and what my logic would be in certain things, so you can try and disperse the traffic and give it some more options of where it wants to be going. I think that's about it. That's all I've got written down on my little footnote. Thank you very much for letting me have a little crack at your city. It was great fun. I'm going to end the commentary here and just leave a bit of music, so if you want to watch some of the other montage stuff that I do to your city, or maybe this is not your city and you're just curious to see how I fix a city which has this low traffic percentage flow, yeah, you can just keep on watching the montage. You do a lot of traffic manager stuff and tweaking highways mainly. That was mainly the whole point of the game. And trying to give some... Oh, that's one thing I can talk about. The way your zoning is in areas is they don't have many outs. So you would have an area that is all like high density residential or even low density residential. And they have like 2 access ways to a main road, and they're all getting clogged up because they're all trying to go through one little single road onto a main road, and then that one main road links to like 2 roundabouts, and those 2 roundabouts are clogged up because they weren't highway roundabouts and people were walking all over them. So my advice would be to just try and tweak the way you grid zone a little bit. Give some little extra ins and outs to it. I understand you don't want to be adding too many junctions to your main road, but the way you were doing, you were having a few too less, and that was causing a lot of issues for your traffic. So yeah, thank you very much. I have been TW1. I am going to let some music play for the remainder of about 10 minutes of this video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and this is your city. I hope this is good enough for you and you can carry on adding some more to the city. It's obviously it's an interesting build, and I like going through other people's cities just to have a little look at them and pick up some ideas. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and as always, peace out.